I wrote to the Indiana Supreme Court here as these documents right here. Um, my name is Frederick Jones or whatnot, but it states Frederick Jones registered order for Floyd County Superior Court 1. Um, the cause number for this document is 22D011909 F6 1840. And I put in motion of discovery for appeal to the Indiana Supreme Court. My date of birth is 0333183. On or about 9/12 of 19, Justice of granting a legal indictment to Detective Kelly Brown, as it was obvious that Kelly Brown was racially profiling me by his own police report and paid favorites to and paid favors into trespassing personnel. I wasn't at home at the time, and I couldn't maintain a common nuisance as I wasn't home. I was labeled as disabled and on Social Security mentally, um, not the personnel who was maintaining a common nuisance. So they was in a normal state of mind, and I wasn't. So I'm mentally incapable, is what they say. Basically, is they have me on hell dog decadent. And I didn't invite them in, and so they was trespassing. I wrote to Orff in the motion of discovery and pleaded not guilty by my motions to prove me innocent, which they didn't file my motions. The clerk didn't file the motions, or the lawyer didn't in the courtroom, and I sent them to them through the mail. It was perfect for me to plead guilty by my motions that I filed, as I pleaded not guilty by my motions, that I would be intimidated, obviously, if I were to plead guilty. I have the right to defend myself, and I was behind enemy lines, and I was intimidated by everyone in and out of jail. My lawyer didn't write or visit me or call me. I complained to the court staff, but they didn't appoint me a new lawyer, and they gave me a problem and told me I shouldn't fire my lawyer and told him to talk me into keeping him my lawyer. But he never responded, and they wouldn't send my papers or whatnot to the court or whatnot, the correctional facility, what I wrote on a kiosk machine. He misrepresented me and came to me with a plea agreement after he already knew I explained my case to him and everything, and he had the police report and I gave him the evidence. I even gave him the motions as the court gave it to him. This was an illegal act. I was in harm's way. Orff didn't see me not once in court or in her courtroom. I never set foot. It happened in auxiliary court in a different courtroom and signed by a different judge. And the documents were dated to the Supreme Court, number one, which was in auxiliary court. That's not the same issue in court. And it's required by law for the judge to sign the plea agreement, and he didn't sign the plea agreement. I thought I was taught in the state hospital while gaining competency before prior as a defendant, and the prosecution must sign the plea agreement and the judge by state law. This violates state law. And close was the plea agreement on the back, which this is the plea agreement right here. And as you can see here, what they got here. And then on the back, you see there is no signature for the judge on here. Only the prosecution and me signed it, so it's not legal by the court and signed by the court. So the court did not approve this right now. And they got me on probation now and everything, and which is a year later of the probation because I didn't go because I knew it was following a man doing wickedness. It violates my religious belief. It's following a man doing wickedness as R. Toppings is doing wickedness because he follows a crowd doing wrong because it's an illegal conviction, which Christianity can suck energy from me anyway. From that, and I'll be weak and then I can be in harm's way or whatnot because I'll be spiritually weak and virtually that's like that. And the Supreme Court, I sent it to the Supreme Court and they wrote me a letter here. It states, I am writing in response to your letter to Indiana Supreme Court, postmarked on June 1st, titled in the motion of discovery or appeal. Please understand the Indiana Supreme Court cannot act in this case because of the letter's litigants, no matter how well intended. Instead, the court judiciance is limited to cases and controversies properly brought before a lower court in accordance to the state law and the Indiana rules of the court. We have trial courts and rules of procedures in place to allow both sides to present evidence so the trial judge can determine the facts and making the ruling based on the law and the evidence. If the party thinks that the trial court has made an error of law, again, there is a procedure in place to take an appeal. The various procedures are in place to make sure both sides are heard and the judge carries out in the open forum room with both sides aware of what is going if both sides are aware of what the other side is saying. I hope you agree that this is fair way to run the system because the court has no authority to act in documents you've sent. I'm returning it to you. For more information, please see the Indiana Rules of Court, particularly Indiana Trial Rule 5, available online. http://www.indiana.gov Judiciary Rule Trial Proc Index something, whatever it is in there. And Indiana applicate Rule 24 right there, and that right there. It says, I hope this information is helpful to you. Respectfully, Jason W. Bennett, Deputy, or whatnot. And in closest, all this is what I tell you. But the thing of it is, about it is, if they can't help me, then how the Supreme Court, if I cannot appeal in a court when I show information that is illegal, then they should have to report this to who the proper people, as it's illegal to not to report a crime in the country. It's illegal not to report a crime in the state and in the country, so they have to forward it to whoever. Then that's saying they're not willing to help me. They're saying they're helping me, but telling me trial rules. What am I going to do with that? I don't know who to send it to or whatnot. He didn't tell me who to send it to or nothing. So which I believe I had to fill out a petition to you in the U.S. federal court. My name is Frederick Jones or whatnot. So I believe I had to send to you. I need you to send me the clerk or whoever you need to get in touch with, the webmaster, administrator. I need you to send me the proper paperwork to fill out a petition. So I guess I have to take it out to the U.S. court or the Supreme Court or tell me where I need to send this to address this matter so the police quit trying to wrongfully catch me and serve illegal indictments, papers, and illegal probation causes.